The world, as we see it today, feels entirely mapped. We have satellites that can zoom in on a backyard from space and GPS coordinates for every mountain peak and forest clearing. We believe the age of discovery is over, but if you look closer at the edges of our maps or deep within the archives of our oldest institutions, you will find grey zones, places where the lines of geography stop and the shadows of history begin. Why are we so drawn to the forbidden? Perhaps it is because these places represent the last remaining fragments of true mystery in a hyper-connected world. They are the spots where the no trespassing sign isn't just a legal warning, but a gateway to a different reality. Tonight, we are traveling to the corners of the earth that the modern world has decided to leave behind. We will explore an island that has remained in the Stone Age, a vault of secrets beneath the streets of Rome, a patch of land in Italy cursed by death, and a bunker at the edge of the world designed to outlast us all. Close your eyes or focus on the stillness of the screen. We are entering the forbidden. In the middle of the Bay of Bengal, nestled within the Andaman Islands, lies a small emerald-green patch of land called North Sentinel Island. From the air, it looks like a tropical paradise. Dense mangroves, white sandy beaches, and crystal-clear turquoise waters. But this is perhaps the most dangerous place on Earth for an outsider to set foot. This island is home to the Sentinelese, a tribe that has lived in near-total isolation for an estimated 60,000 years. Think about that for a moment. While empires rose and fell, while the Industrial Revolution reshaped the planet, and while humanity stepped onto the moon, the people of North Sentinel remained unchanged. They do not practice agriculture. They do not use fire as we know it. They are the last uncontacted people on the planet who have actively chosen to stay that way. History shows us that every time we tried to reach them, the island pushed back with a violent no. In the late 19th century, British naval officers landed and kidnapped several tribespeople. The elders died almost immediately from common diseases for which they had no immunity. Since then, the Sentinelese have viewed the outside world as a harbinger of death. In 1974, a National Geographic film director was shot in the thigh with an arrow. In 2006, 2 illegal fishermen whose boat drifted onto the island's reefs were killed. And most recently, in 2018, a young missionary who attempted to convert the tribe met a tragic end on those same white sands. The Indian government has now established a 3-mile exclusion zone around the island. It is forbidden to go there, not just to protect you from their arrows, but to protect them from us. A simple common cold from a tourist could wipe out their entire civilization in weeks. As you listen to the waves in your mind, imagine this island as a time capsule. On those shores, the rhythm of life is dictated only by the tides and the moon, completely indifferent to the digital world we inhabit. It is a place where history has stood still, protected by a wall of coral and a fierce ancient will to be left alone. From the wild shores of the Indian Ocean, we move to the heart of one of the most powerful cities in history, Vatican City. Beneath the heavy stone floors and the grandeur of St. Peter's Basilica lies a place that has fueled conspiracy theories for centuries, the Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly known as the Secret Archives. Stretching for over 50 miles of shelving, these underground corridors contain the private papers of popes, reaching back over a millennium. For years, the word secret in its title sparked images of hidden gospels, evidence of extraterrestrial life, or the true lineage of Christ. While the reality might be more bureaucratic, it is no less staggering. Imagine walking through these climate-controlled vaults. You are surrounded by the original documents of the trial of Galileo Galilei, the man who was silenced for saying the earth revolves around the sun. You pass the letter from Mary, Queen of Scots, written just before her execution, begging the Pope to save her life. You find the petition signed by English peers in 1530, asking for the annulment of Henry VIII's marriage, the very document that triggered the creation of the Church of England. Access is strictly forbidden to the public. Only qualified scholars with specific research goals are allowed inside, and even then, they cannot browse. They must request specific folders. No one is allowed to see the most recent decades of history until they are officially unsealed by the reigning pope. But what remains in the dark sections? There are rumors of the Grand Grimoire, an ancient book of black magic, and suppressed reports of sightings of things that defy logic. Whether these are myths or truths, the archive remains a fortress of information. It reminds us that history is not just what happened, it is what those in power chose to write down and keep under lock and key. In the silence of the Vatican's basement, the secrets of Western civilization are breathing, waiting for the day they are finally allowed to see the light. We travel now to the Venetian lagoon in Italy. Tourists flock to Venice for its canals and art, but few dare to look toward the small, crumbling island of Poveglia. It is a place so dark that even the local fishermen refuse to cast their nets near its shores. They say the soil is made of human ash. Poveglia's history is a tragedy written in layers. During the time of the Black Death, Venice was a gateway for trade and disease. To stop the spread, the city turned Poveglia into a lazaretto, a quarantine station. If you showed even the slightest symptom of the plague, you were snatched from your family and sent to Poveglia. There, thousands died in agony, their bodies tossed into massive plague pits or burned. It is estimated that over 100,000 people met their end on this tiny plot of land. But the horror didn't end in the Middle Ages. In the 1920s, a psychiatric hospital was built on the island. Legends tell of a doctor who, driven mad by the isolation and perhaps the restless spirits of the plague victims, performed horrific experiments on his patients. He eventually threw himself from the hospital's bell tower, claiming he was being haunted by the dead. Today, the island is completely abandoned. The buildings are skeletal, choked by ivy and rot. The Italian government has tried to auction it off several times, but no one wants to stay there. It is a forbidden zone, not by official decree alone, but by a collective sense of dread. As the fog rolls over the lagoon, Poveglia stands as a monument to the forgotten suffering of the past. It is a place where the barrier between the living and the dead feels dangerously thin. Listening to the silence of the island, one can almost hear the echoes of 1,000 years of isolation. Our final destination takes us to the furthest north, reachable by man, the Svalbard archipelago, halfway between mainland Norway and the North Pole. Here, etched into the side of a frozen mountain of permafrost, is a door. It looks like something out of a science fiction film, a concrete wedge jutting out of the snow, illuminated by blue and green fiber-optic lights that mimic the aurora borealis. This is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. It is not a place of death, but a place of ultimate insurance. It is the Doomsday Vault. Inside, deep within the mountain's belly, are 3 massive chambers kept at a constant temperature of -18 degrees Celsius. They contain millions of seeds from every corner of the globe. Why? Because if a nuclear war, a global pandemic, or catastrophic climate change wipes out our crops, this vault contains the genetic blueprints to restart human civilization. It is one of the most secure locations on the planet. There are no permanent staff. The mountain is seismically stable, and its height ensures it will stay dry even if the ice caps melt. It is forbidden to the public because its contents are more valuable than gold or oil. It is the concentrated essence of 10,000 years of human agriculture. In 2015, the vault was used for the first time. Seeds were withdrawn to replace those lost in a seed bank in Aleppo, Syria, which had been destroyed by the civil war. It worked. The seeds were grown in Lebanon and Morocco, and new samples were sent back to the mountain. Standing before that door in the Arctic wind, one feels a strange mix of fear and hope. It is a forbidden place built on the assumption that we might fail as a species, yet it represents our greatest effort to survive. It is the silent guardian of our future, tucked away in the ice where only the polar bears and the wind can find it. As we return from our journey from the heat of North Sentinel to the ice of Svalbard, we are left with a question. Why do these forbidden places matter? They matter because they define our boundaries. North Sentinel reminds us that not everyone wants to be part of our progress. The Vatican archives remind us that knowledge is power, and that power is often kept in the dark. Poveglia warns us of the scars that history can leave on the land, and Svalbard shows us that we are already preparing for the day our current map fails. In a world where everything is for sale and every street corner is on Google Maps, these forbidden zones offer us something rare, a sense of awe. They remind us that the world is still vast, still mysterious, and still capable of keeping its secrets. Thank you for wandering these shadows with me tonight. As you drift off to sleep or return to your work, remember that the map is not the territory. There will always be places where we are not allowed to go, and perhaps that is exactly as it should be. Safe travels wherever your mind goes next.